Maybe. Slow ass internet. Good evening, or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Inclusion Matters Podcast. This time with Inclusion Pro Wrestling and our good friend Flashback Pro Wrestling, talking about his sweet ass card coming up this weekend in Sydney, Montana. That's right, just a few hours from Washington State, from our backyard. Sydney, Montana. And we had him on last time. I think he's still the only promotion in Washington or in Montana, the only actual promotion in Montana, which is kind of really cool. But we brought him in to plug his show and talk a little bit of our show and talk promoter to promoter. So let me introduce the panel here real quick. I don't need any introduction, of course. I'm the heartbreaker. I'm the best. I'm the one that makes this ship run correctly. In the bottom corner there with the blue flag behind him. He probably joined us. The guy from Darby probably hasn't met this guy yet, but we call him Principal Tapass.
Oh.
Why do we call Tapass? Because he looks like a Brillo pad when his hair is all poofy and in a perm. It looks like he stuck his finger in a damn light socket. And then, of course, the gentleman in the neon shirt, Mr. Paint Drying, the Orange Cassidy loving freak, who may or may not like orange juice, but that does not matter, But unfortunately, I couldn't get rid of Mr. Paint Drying, so you're stuck with him.
Oh. Well, cool. I'm very glad you guys got me on here once again. I'm glad to be back. I'm just very excited about my show, and I'm trying to get the word out to as many people I can because I'm very excited. We got Richland Redemption, totally not parody off Red Dead Redemption, guys. Rockstar Games, sorry, guys. I did the same thing with Jurassic Park. It should be awesome, man. Sydney is just about 40 minutes north of Glendive. It's very close to the Canadian border, so maybe we'll be someday. We got six matches, I think, for the show, I believe. This is like our first time. It's the first time we're going out of town. There are people from Glendive coming, but it's a very new crowd. So I'm curious. I have no expectations. It's such a new group of people. I'm curious to see how their crowd reacts to some people, see who they like more than others. And I'm very excited because I'm glad the card's a variety. Like our first card with Below Zero, Badlands Brawl was like singles match. But we got there are singles matches, but we got a battle royale. We've got the open challenge for the heavyweight title. We got a tag team match for the first time, so a tag match that's always cool to have.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just really excited for the show. I'm really very excited you guys had me back on here again. Last time it was a blast. I don't see why it won't be the same this time. So
yeah. So let's break it down. Let's get right into some of these matches, man. I mean, some of these people that you have on this card we've actually interviewed, but let's talk one match first in particular. I don't know one of these gentlemen, but the other gentleman, if you want to call him a gentleman, I call him a crybaby.
Here we go.
But that's only because he can't admit to himself that he lost to a woman not once but twice. And in fact, he's such a crybaby that he still cries about it today. And that is Mr. You got him as the big sky brawler, but you should call him the big sky baller.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Just because he cries like a baby every time he loses to a woman. Too bad you couldn't put him against Kay Dabber, because that would have been funny, because then would have been a 3-time loser to a woman.
Right?
But,
yeah, no. Interesting. Honestly, all due respect to the man, but for that whole time, I thought you were talking about Gino the whole time. Because I know that in Gino's promotion, he had a match at his own show with a woman at the show. I don't know if he won or lost actually, but I thought that's who you were talking about.
He actually lost.
He actually lost.
He actually lost to Gypsy Mac. That was a teacher student. That was a student beating the teacher match.
And he did lose them.
So he did lose.
Okay.
He did lose to Gypsy.
Mm.
I would never discredit the Puerto Rican pit bull, the treasure troll.
Yes.
The man is brilliant at what he does. I think he's like an 18-time world. Yeah, I think he's like an 18-time world champion right now. And so,
he's had a lot of titles.
He's probably the Indies. I mean, he and Matt Cardona are probably the indie version of Ric Flair.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, he is a hustler. I wouldn't call him a crybaby, but we'll see how that is after Saturday. We'll see.
I would never call Gino Rivera a crybaby. However, Mr. Killian Crow, I know you're watching.
Yeah, so Killian Crow, I mean, it's very interesting. This guy, he's out of Billings, Montana. That's where he's from. He's in the Colorado scene, very strong in the Colorado scene. He actually was security at NXT No Mercy last night. Yeah, he's coming into Montana. We've got a lot of people coming up to watch this guy. His opponent, Tommy Douglas, was at the inaugural show, Badlands Brawl. He lost clean to Joseph Anderson in the second to last match on the card. I'm curious to see what people think of the Big Sky Brawler or Crybaby. I don't know. We'll find out what he is. I'm very excited to see. I think Killian Crow of everybody coming in, I think he's got the biggest point to prove because for our scene up here, he's new. We got a lot of new guys, but he's new and he's trying to make his name known up here. I've been seeing him posting. He has already made his ambitions clear. He said he wants to win the Flashback Pro Wrestling title eventually. That is his goal. So that's already been laid out. We're going to see how he does with Tommy Douglas. I've had a lot of people coming to me, questioning the matchup, but I think it's going to be a slobber knocker. Hopefully, no one cries in the match. Hopefully, I can't control that. Hopefully, our official Robert Mary can handle that. I'm very excited for the match, and that wasn't the name I was expecting you to talk about with what you were saying there. So.
Well, there's one thing I want to say. I need to make a public service announcement to Mr. Killian Crow. Sir,
yeah.
The views on that part of this podcast are on the Heartbreakers only. So for Principal Tapp and myself, we had nothing to do with that. So if you're mad at anybody, be mad at the bald guy that looks like a combination of Harry Potter and Baby Huey up in the top corner.
Oh my gosh, dude! That was just so funny to me. I'm so excited to have him up here, debuting in Flashback Wrestling. Like I said, statistically, he is actually our biggest ticket mover on the whole card. He's got a lot of people coming all the way from Billings, which to Sydney's about close to a 4-hour drive. I'm really excited actually to see that match. Tommy Douglas, we'll see how he does. He just had a match with Jack Ledger in Below Zero yesterday, so we'll see how he carries his momentum here coming back to the promotion. I'm pretty excited for that match. It's lower on the graphic, but I'm a betting man. It's going to be one of the louder moments in the crowd that night. But I'm very excited.
Just as long as you make sure you have the referee bring lots of tissues to the match. Because
yeah. I was going to say just in case. I might have.
Killian's a baller, and instead of a brawler, he's actually a baller.
Yeah, potentially, in case of that, I'll note to Rob or Tanner to bring some tissues with them, stuff them in their back pocket or something, just in case. You always got to be ready as a referee. So thank you guys for the warning.
Well, don't you think it would be fair if you explained to why you call him a crybaby for the people that might not know?
Yeah, I'm curious.
He lost to our girl in Colorado, the reigning, current and defending CSW Women's Champion is Pandemonium. And man, whenever you get a chance, you need to bring that warm, cuddly panda bear to your promotion.
Yeah, you guys, you mentioned Pandemonium the first time I was here.
Yes, we actually mentioned Killian too, and you actually took our advice and brought the crybaby up there.
And K-Dabber.
But you also took our advice and brought up probably one of the best wrestlers in their. I won't call them by their real. It's them and they. You know, in their career, is Miss K-Dabber. You're gonna get a show. Okay.
Yeah, we were gonna have K-Dabber versus Tyra at the Sydney show, but unfortunately the match didn't work out. We got K-Dabber, the They Them Mayhem, tearing through our I believe I should remember this 6 or 7 entries in our Battle Royal match. I'm very excited for that match. That ring's going to be the most full it's ever been. I'm excited. We got K-Dabber, who is new to the promotion. We got a couple returnees. Jake Taylor was here for Badlands Brawl. We got Jason Draven. He's coming back after Jurassic Pain. Matthias actually picked up a victory in a fatal 4-way match at Jurassic Pain. Mr. Incredible, definitely at least in the fan vote I've seen so far, the fan favorite to win the match. Mr. Incredible, he's 0-2 in Flashback, but I can't really say he's had a bad loss. They've both been to the Masterpiece Chris Adonis so far. I'd say that's a pretty fair 0-2 so far for him. So it should be an interesting start for Incredible there in that match. I'm really excited. Luke Alexander as well. He's out of Jamestown, North Dakota. He'll be making his debut. That was very last minute, but I'm so glad he's going to be here. I'm really excited for the Battle Royal. We were going to do a Battle Royal in August with 6 entries, and it did not work out, unfortunately. So I'm frankly really excited for that Battle Royal match. I think it's going to spice up the card. Brought to us by Island Cuisines. They're our food vendor that night, serving amazing Caribbean and Jamaican food, which is going to be awesome. And the winner gets a title shot for the Flashback Pro Wrestling Heavyweight title on a date of their choice, and the important part, a stipulation of their choosing, which, depending on the winner, could be something pretty interesting, I think. So I'm pretty excited.
And yet another reason that Killian Crow is going to get a chance to cry, because K-Dabber gets a shot at the title before he does, if she wins.
Right? Yeah, because
if she wins, it'll be something else that Mr. Killian Crow can boo-hoo about.
That's true, because Crow, if he wins, realistically, the winner of this Battle Royal, I can't speak for all of the entries, but realistically, they're going to cash in their title shot at the soonest possible date. So yeah, you're right, man. If K-Dabber could get the win in that Battle Royal, in your eyes, the Big Sky Baller, he might be in trouble. He might be off to a rough start in Flashback Pro. We'll see this Saturday, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Another match on the card was, the man you thought I was actually crying about. But no, I've got nothing but respect for Puerto Rican bull, Gino Rivera.
Gino.
Yeah, I've got nothing but respect for that man.
Gino, he is like, he's the epitome of like the hustler on the indies. We had him at Jurassic Pain, kind of in the same way as Mr. Incredible. Yes, he was 0-1, but it was to Jack Ledger and Matt Cross. Not the worst loss to have in your debut. He's coming in here now with JDX, who is out of the Minnesota area, I believe, around Minneapolis. Really surprised JDX is not signed yet. Anybody in my crowd that has not seen him yet is going to be blown away. He was supposed to be here at Jurassic Pain in August, and unfortunately he wasn't. Frankly, I think both guys just have something to prove. in a new town neither of them have been to. Personally, you never know what's going to happen that night, but I'm very realistically expecting that's probably going to be a match of the night. I think it's going to be. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm very excited for those two. JDX making his debut for us, and Gino obviously coming back. Our crowd really didn't have nice things to say about him. He was the first heel to walk out that curtain in August, so he got the short end of the stick with the crowd reception. So I'm very curious to see what a new town thinks of the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia in 6 days.
So
that's
next
a great catchphrase that he uses too. By the way, I love that.
It really is. But if you really want the money match, you should put the Below Zero champion against the Flashback champion, title for title.
But who's to say they can't do that? Who's to say Gino couldn't be the mystery opponent?
Did I ask you a question, paint drying, or did I ask our guest a question?
Excuse me, I'm going to answer it anyway, and if you want to go, you know where I live.
All right. Well, it's interesting. Well, a couple of things. First of all, I was very surprised to see it happen. I actually drove over to Fargo. I was in attendance. Gino is not the Below Zero champ anymore. But the Below Zero champ will be in the house. Mr. Brandon Nitro, he's on our card. He actually just defeated Gino for the title. This was only 8 days ago, actually, in Fargo. I was surprised. Very surprised. But I think no matter who the champ is, I feel like, Montana and North Dakota, like people that live in Montana and North Dakota, there has been an internal and external rivalry for the longest time. And Montana, like Glendive is literally 15 no, it's about 15 minutes from the North Dakota border. I mean, like we're right there. And I can't comment on the fact if Mr. Nick Stoke and I have had any conversations or not, but I think after our opening show with Below Zero, I think it would be a no-brainer now that we're established to do a collaboration show down the road, maybe at a town that meets in the middle of the two. I think that'd be pretty awesome, and I think a champion versus champion could be one of the bigger matches that could happen in our area. I think that would be insane.
Well, I'm sorry, Messiah. Am I hogging your podcast? Oh, I'm so sorry. You can speak now, boy. Wolf.
There's so many things that I have wrong with that last statement. But I digress because I'll be talking at a level that might be too hard for your tiny little brain to understand. So let's talk about your main event, though, which would be your Flashback champion against a mystery opponent. That's got me intrigued because whenever there's a mystery opponent, you never know who it is.
So
that's what you get for not doing research. It's not a mystery opponent no more.
It was a mystery at one point in time. It was.
I'm still trying to build the intrigue. And then
I'll let whichever one of you two declares to be the host with the most. I'll let whichever one of you chooses to announce our main event for Sydney. I'm very excited for that.
Well, it's a zombie king versus a zombie killer. Kind of sounds like a Randy Orton versus everybody else type match because he threatened to be the legend killer. Now, his guy now he's got a zombie killer.
Right.
So I don't know. I still like Jack's chances in this match.
Okay. Yeah. We got Zombie King, Zombie Killer, the Ice King, Jack Legend, reigning defending champion, Mentalo out of the Manitoba region in Canada. He is debuting for our promotion, but he is nothing new to the region. He made his Below Zero debut. I believe he's undefeated in Below Zero. He's won 2 matches there as of June. He's everywhere in the Canadian scene. He is the CWE regional champion right now, I believe. He even goes down. I've seen him in Colorado working with some of the guys that we've got coming up. He was ranked 333 on the PWI 500 this year. That actually dropped literally the same day we announced that match.
Wow.
So I'm very excited. You know, you want to talk an open challenge. It makes so much sense for a guy like him to step up. Jack just won the title in August against Bobby Brennan in a very clean victory. You know, ran the gauntlet. He beat Gino and he beat Matt Cross and Bobby Brennan all on the same night to become our inaugural champion. And on the AIWF, Allied Independent Wrestling Federations, they just revealed their monthly rankings of champions, and Jack Ledger's Flashback title. He is the number 10 rank in the AIWF champions in independent wrestling right now. Judging by what we've seen, and you know, we're seeing with Sydney being so soon after August with the Open Challenge, I think it's very clear that I think Jack is looking to be he's looking to set the precedent as the fighting champion. You know, the guy who wants to rack up those defenses, go anywhere, any place, anytime, defend the title. You know, represent Flashback Pro Wrestling and himself. Train at the Nightmare Factory. He's no joke. He's easily the fan favorite in our promotion. You know, like with the crowd cheering and, you know, beating on the floor and the ring mat from the outside. Like, at that show, man, in August, it was those final 5 minutes of that match. It was the loudest thing I've heard, man. It was just electric. When his music hit, you couldn't hear it. It was just awesome. You know, for such a new promotion, I don't think you could have ever hoped for a better first champion. It could have been Bobby Brennan. It could have been Mr. Incredible. It could have been Chris Adonis, Gino, Matt Cross. Could have been any of them. But seriously, I think Jack being our inaugural champion is so strong and a great just representation of the brand. And I'm so excited for that match. Zombie King, Zombie Killer, October. You know, it's spooky season, ladies and gentlemen. And I think those two, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, with all due respect to this amazing card, like, I don't know what's going to be match of the night anymore now that I keep talking about this stuff. Especially considering general fan consensus is match of the night. Badlands Brawl, it was Johnny Flashback, Jack Ledger. Jurassic Pain, I heard 3 match of the night contenders. One of them was the Fuego versus Duke Cornell, granted, but then, you know, Ledger Cross Rivera and Jack versus Bobby Brennan in the main event. Those are like what people have considered match of the night contenders. I'm curious to see if that trend continues in Sydney. I'm mostly curious to see, you know, what happens with the champ so early into his run. You know, from everyone I've talked to, a lot of fans and stuff, you know, this match could go any way. You never know what's going to happen in this match. I think those two are just two of the absolute best in the region, and those two have been on 1,000 cards together, and they have never wrestled a match. They've never locked up in a ring before, so it's going to be insane. We were tossing and turning on what our main event for this card would be for so long, but I'm very confident. I'm very glad this is the match we got. It's going to be awesome. To put it very lightly, it's going to be an amazing match, I think, and I'm very excited for the first ever defense of this title.
Okay, well, there's only 2 cards left on his match. Let's take a break from Flashback for a moment, and now because, you know, I shouldn't dominate this man's podcast. So let me take a moment to let our co-owner and brainchild of Inclusion Pro Wrestling talk about inclusion. So,
Okay, so
Mr. Paint Drawing, if you can get through it without putting me to sleep, I'll let you talk.
Well, I don't know. You're getting kind of old, so keeping you awake might not be that easy. But so what? Here's what Inclusion Pro Wrestling is. 20 years ago, I was able to go to a wrestling school in Kelso, Washington, and because I have cerebral palsy and I'm in a wheelchair, they looked at me and they said, "You'll never do anything in wrestling as far as getting in the ring or doing anything because wrestling is a physical sport." So being in a wheelchair and doing wrestling, just they don't mix. Well, I'm a very determined person, so that just made me want to do it more. And so I came back to that training school every day. And they eventually made me a booker and a commentator. I think they did that mainly just to get me to shut up so they could go on and do other stuff. And that lasted for like 2 years until that folded. And then it took me 20 more years after that. And I was, with the help of saving my Social Security and my family, I was able to buy a wrestling ring that Roddy Piper has been in the Pacific Northwest.
Nice.
And we will be putting on our first show on November 25th at the Rain Church in Kelso.
Okay.
And the whole point of this promotion is to never turn anybody away, right? Like, never have them have the same experiences that I had to go through. Like, if you want to try this, come try it. If 5 minutes in you realize it's not what you want, fine, but you got that 5 minutes to live your dream, right? If you just want to come and watch the show and forget about what's going on, for those 2 hours, awesome. We'll put on a good show. We're gonna treat you like family when you walk through the doors of that church or that building or the arena or wherever we do these shows.
Heck yeah.
And it's about helping people accomplish their dream. I never, you have dreams that you think are way back in your head that you think, man, I'd like to win the lottery, or I'd like to own my own wrestling promotion, or I'd like to own my own wrestling ring. But those are dreams that you think, yeah, okay, but you focus on ones that you can accomplish, right? That are like right there. So when I got a chance to do this one, I had to jump on it. And I've had a great team of people helping me. Yes, the Heartbreaker was one of them. And so was Principal Taft. We have a great card also for ours. That night we'll be debuting the Cowlitz County Championship in a battle royal.
Nice.
We have Miss Sunny Days versus Christopher Isaac. In our semi-main event, we have a showcase match with Kyler and Rowan, Cyrus, and Jameer. We also have, in our main event, we have, help me out here, Heartbreaker. My brain just, and you're better at that than a part that I am. If you're awake.
Well, now since the fans can actually listen to a real person talk who has a beautiful announcer voice and not listening to paint dry, our main event for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. CJ Edwards versus Air Adonis. And let me back up just a little bit. Our inaugural championship, that's right, the Cowlitz County Championship, will be handed out to the winner of, and you forgot it, it's a battle royal. But it's not just any battle royal. It's the Cowlitz County Rumble, or the Cowlitz River Rumble. There we go, Cowlitz River Rumble. The winner of the Cowlitz River Rumble is the inaugural champion of Cowlitz County. Now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, if that champion can hang on to that championship 5 times, and this is a nice thing, they get a championship match of the title of their choosing. Now, notice I said championship match of the title of their choosing. That's right. We don't discriminate, ladies and gentlemen. Man, woman, anybody can hold any title at any time in pro wrestling. So the heavyweight championship just isn't for a man. Now, if a woman thinks she's bad enough, beat a man, just ask Pandemonium, who beat Killian Crow. You know, for that chance at the CSW Women's Championship. You know, it can happen, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, again, ask the Crybaby all about it. He lost a match for a championship.
Oh.
And
like a dog with a bone, I swear.
Poor guy.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, that was actually a battle royal too. So Killian Crow, anywhere near a battle royal with a woman, is gonna lose. But there's a few other matches on that card that Mr. Messiah didn't hit up. Let's talk about Deontay King Ford versus TNT Tyson Lee.
Ooh.
There is a mystery match. That's right. The match will remain a mystery until the day of the show.
Ooh.
All I can say
Mystery.
is it will be the Cowlitz County champion first title defense against a mystery opponent.
Oh, that's exciting. I like that.
And the one thing too, whoever wins that Cowlitz County Championship and the Cowlitz River Rumble will have the belt presented to them by none other than former WWE superstar Tucker Knight.
Nice. That's gonna be awesome, man. That's a good grab, man. That's awesome. That's super.
And don't forget, Mr. Messiah gets a Kindle shot.
Yeah, if she can try, but we'll see how that goes.
And nunchucks.
I was actually going to be nice and not bring that up. I was busy picking on somebody else on this podcast.
No, please.
I was actually going to give Mr. Messiah a reprieve. because anytime that I get to talk about Crybaby, I'd much rather dig at Crybaby than at the Messiah. Just saying.
I ain't scared. She ain't gonna hit me. She got olive oil arms. There was a reason why Olive Oil never did any of the fighting on the Popeye cartoons. It's the same reason that she's not gonna be able to hit me with a kendo stick.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And we can finally announce one other nice little stickler to this whole card. With that match in the other room. With that match with Sunny Days and Christopher Ryzik, that match, ladies and gentlemen, will crown our very first heavyweight champion of Inclusion Pro Wrestling.
Nice.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's gonna be amazing, man. I'm excited. I wish I had the time to make it over and watch that show. That's gonna be awesome.
And not only is and thank you for saying that, not only is the show gonna be awesome, but it's also a toy drive for the Children's Hospitals of Oregon.
That's awesome.
For Shriners, Dornbeckers, and Reynolds Children's Hospital.
That's like extra cool from everything you guys just said. I didn't even know that. That's like icing on the cake right there, right? That's awesome.
So we are looking for unused toys. So anybody out there that would like to help in the toy drive for those children, please hit us up. We'd love to have you guys as backers of the toy drive. Let's see here. What else is there? We are actually excited as, first-time promoters. We brought Darby on just before he started his first show too, I think. And the excitement and with him putting this in here actually lit a fire under Nathan and I. And here it is, a few months later, he's in show 3, we're in show 1. So this is, kind of a surreal moment for us. But I want to touch on one other thing. Mr. Jack Ledger, sir, we love you. We wished we could get you on our show in November. But, as Darby says, sometimes the budget just doesn't allow it with like flights and everything.
Mhm.
But our second show, I hope you're listening, Mr. Jack Dudger, or if not, maybe we can get a message to him. For our second show is going to be sometime in February. We, the three of us on the podcast here are actually also members of our local Special Olympics.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
our next show, one of our athletes who is very well beloved here in town had just found out he's gotten terminal brain cancer, and it was worse than everybody thought.
Okay.
So we thought for our second show, because we're doing the toy drive for the kids this show, for our second show, and we can actually announce it's going to be sometime in February. Don't know the date yet. We'll keep everybody informed. But we can actually call our second show. It's going to be a cancer fundraiser for our friend Alan.
Nice.
And I think we're going to call it Wrist Locks for Cancer, or no, Kick Out for Cancer is what we're going to call that show. Kick Out for Cancer.
Nice.
So, talent, be waiting. We will be doing an open talent call here shortly for anybody that wants to come and support us in that show. And Mr. Ice King, Sir Jack Ledger, we'd love to have you on that show if we can afford you.
Yeah.
Which hopefully after this first show we'll be able to. So,
Heck
we
yeah,
will
man.
keep.
Absolutely.
Well, it's that first show hump, man. You get over that and you're golden, man. I mean, I'm barely over the first show hump, but I mean, like, it's, then you know how to prepare for the next one, how to market the next one, how to write the next one, everything. And that's awesome of you guys, man. Doing fundraisers, toy drives, that's an awesome thing for the community. I love seeing stuff like that. We did, in my game shop, we did a Mario Kart tournament food drive in April, and that was just so awesome. Doing stuff like that is amazing. That's so cool you guys are doing that. That's gonna be cool. We've been piecing together a charity show ourselves for down the road, so that's good to hear that it's a thing. I with wrestling, it's awesome, man. Get the family to go out, have some fun, support a fundraiser, toy drive, whatever it may be. That's really cool, you guys. That's awesome. I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm excited too because I just love the message of I love your card, but I love the message of what Inclusion Pro Wrestling is. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because I don't think a lot of people think about that when they think about pro wrestling. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they're just gonna wrestle, but I kind of wanted it to be where there's a message with every show, right? Like,
100%, man. That's awesome. That's awesome to send a message home with your crowd. That's awesome, man. That's a good thing, and I'm sure a lot of promoters don't even think of something like that. With all due respect, so that's really cool, man. I'm excited for what you guys got going on.
So, Mr. Heartbreak or Mr. Messiah there, or actually Principal Tap, we haven't heard from you. I mean, you've been extremely quiet as a mouth. Maybe it's the Brillo top. I promise I won't use your hair for a mop this time. That was only one time.
I can't make that promise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was only one time. I think I was drunk, so I apologize for that.
No, I'm just sitting here back and listening to his card as well, and it sounds like it's gonna be one amazing show.
Okay, man.
Yeah, so there's only 2 other matches left. I believe it's your tag team match and your Heartthrob versus Power match.
Yes. Yeah. We got, so for the tag teams, both are debuting, Royal Flava and Country Air. Both are one's from Wisconsin, one from Minnesota, so both coming over from a little over east. Both are two, like, in independent wrestling, you don't see like a whole ton of dedicated tag teams. Like, you see a lot of like guys that work singles and maybe they do a tag, but you don't see a whole ton of like, tag team is their whole thing. They're a package deal. They travel together, they room together, they wrestle together. You don't see a whole ton of that on the independents, so I'm very glad that we're finding that. We have we have talked with a handful of Midwest tag teams. It's out of my own personal bias. I don't put too much of my own wrestling taste into these shows, but it's starting with one thing, and that's tag teams. Tag team wrestling is easily my favorite, just grounded form of a wrestling match. You don't get much better wrestling, in my opinion, than like 2018 NXT when tag teams were main eventing cards. It was so cool. So, these two are amazing tag teams. I've watched endless hours of their footage. They just, Royal Flava and Country Air, they work together in the ring as a duo so well. Like, every move they do has a purpose together and as a team, and it's just so cool. And I think I'm really excited for those two. We've talked with a handful of other teams. We're going to be building a solid tag division. The Summit out of Minnesota, NDS, they are a big staple in the independents. The Crucible, there's a lot of tag teams kind of in the North Dakota, Colorado, and Minnesota kind of area. So we're very excited, and we're hoping down the road sometime in the near future we're going to introduce our tag team titles. That would be a big highlight for us. So I'm very excited for these two. Country Air, they're coming in pretty arrogant. They've been a team for years on end. Royal Flava, both are very young, high flyers. I think it's going to be it's going to be an interesting match. I think those two, they've wrestled before in Midwest All-Star Wrestling in Minnesota. They haven't wrestled against each other in Below Zero, but they have both worked there. It's going to be an awesome match. I think it's going to be really cool, and more of a proving point, I guess, to see like a teaser of what's to come, because tag teams are going to be a very essential part of our promotion moving forward, moving into October, November, December, and onward. So I'm very excited for that match. I think it's going to be pretty amazing, I think. So like I said, I keep talking about all these, and now I really don't know what the best match on the show is going to be. I keep talking about them. I don't know what it's going to be now. We got a lot of contenders for that, so I'm very much so looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah. Well, speaking of tag teams, if you're looking for more suggestions, Downfall Cathedral, Ramrock and Ryan Nevin. Great tag team.
Nice. Do you know
but
where
they're what?
They're based out of Colorado.
Based out of Colorado?
They're based out of Colorado. But if you bring them in, I can't be remiss to mention our former co-host, who we're still friends with. But I hear that Big Money Exchange and Downfall Cathedral need a rubber match.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm always open for new guys making their way up to Montana, so that's interesting. I think that'd be cool, especially if they've already got a pre-existed rivalry kind of brewing up a little bit. That's always fun. I like when rivalries and stories kind of connect through promotions. I don't enjoy when a promotion exists in its own bubble as if nothing else exists. It's cool. We got, just in our region, just in our small little area, Flashback Pro, Below Zero, Time Bomb Pro Wrestling, Midwest All-Star Wrestling, Primos Pro Wrestling. Colorado's got like a million promotions that I can't even name all of them before 10 hours of the stream. Like, Flagship Pro in South Dakota. There's just a ton. First Wrestling in Minnesota, that's a big one. So yeah, no, That's super cool. I like the idea of a rivalry kind of carrying over from something before into our promotion. I think that would be awesome. So I'm very open to it. Let them know. My DMs are open whenever. So
We definitely will.
heck yeah.
Absolutely.
And you talked about other promotions, doing stuff with like your promotion. That reminds me of a match that we forgot to bring up for ours, which is a CPW match, which is Combat Pro Wrestling,
Uh-huh.
and that is going to be for the Family Championship.
Mm.
It'll be Andrew Michelson versus Tomcat Jones.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Heck yeah. I know I keep saying it, but genuinely, I'm really excited for what you guys are doing. Hopefully there's some fan videos and stuff out there. I can catch some clips.
We'll make sure there's videos. We're already in the process of making sure that.
Nice. That's awesome. That's like my biggest butcher I've done so far is camera work. I got like almost no footage of our August show, and I regret it a lot. So we're fixing that this time, but yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to do it right. We're trying to do it right. So we've actually talked to it's a local in-town TV station, but
Nice.
if we can find some people to go in and learn the production and the camera crews and stuff like that, they are willing to let us borrow our equipment to come in and actually put it out on local TV market. And I think Nathan's going to commentate through StreamYard, so our whole show might be on the podcast. So
that would be awesome.
So stay tuned for that. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We're thinking about possibly doing that. I know he's going to commentate. I don't know how he's going, but I think he might actually do it through here. So
we're going to work on that. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it through StreamYard at the show, but we can probably work something. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool, man. And
for those promotions that are looking for podcast partners, we're available. Please look us up.
Yes.
I know, a little shameless plug for the podcast now. Why not?
Well, we do media scrums. We've done it for CPW here in Washington, and we would have no problem doing it for other promotions. Just like they do in the WWE, give you guys a chance to talk about your show that night and then your up and coming shows, and to progress rivalries, because that could be a good place for you to, like, if you have a talent that's taking part in it, he can call out his next opponent, if you know who it is.
100%. Heck yeah, man.
So do you have any, we've got a few minutes left. Do you guys have any questions? You guys want to bring up anything?
No, I'm good.
Just from a promoter's perspective, do you have any advice that you've had a couple of shows under your belt? We're going into our first one.
Yeah. I guess take my advice take it as seriously as you want, I guess, because like I said, I'm still pretty new, but in my experience, number one, it's obvious, but a lot of people skip it, is have fun. It's a business, but you just got to enjoy the show, have some fun. And it's easy to get worried and stressed out because realistically, every show, you're going to have some plans that don't work out. There's going to be guys that can't make it, or this thing won't work this way, or, this happened, or you get overcharged on something. It happens all the time. So, like, it's easy to get stressed out, but I guess, like, my biggest point of advice is, like, when something bad happens that can't go your way for the show ahead of time, like, you just got to roll with it and, like, realize that, like, I guess, adjust the steering wheel however you need to just put on the best show you can for that crowd, make sure they have a blast. and I guess it's not promoter advice, but for whoever your ring announcer will be, is make sure they're very engaging with the crowd, getting them hyped up before the show and in between matches, or just, whoever, maybe it's not your ring announcer, maybe you just have a general, person who's coming out hyping up the crowd. Whoever you got for that, I would definitely recommend, you got somebody doing that. So yeah, just basically having fun with it, and like you'll get stressed out at points, but like my personal thing I try to do best is just have fun with it, even when like something doesn't go the right way. Just adjust it however you need. I mean, Gino Rivera wasn't booked for our Sydney show 6 days ago. He wasn't booked for it. Like, we just steered the course last minute because we dropped to 5 matches, and he's frankly very reliable, despite our crowd not enjoying his presence very much. So, I don't know. It's good to just chill. And I know it's dumb to say because it's a very stressful endeavor. So I know it's weird. My advice is just to have fun and chill, I guess. But that's just for me, is just having fun with the whole thing. Make sure presentation's good. You got good lighting, and sound is always important too. Is like, make sure your music's not too loud, too quiet. Make sure the mic doesn't have feedback. And just, it actually went back to, how we talked before we started the podcast tonight. Like, make sure your fans and your wrestlers are treated with respect. I know that sounds like obvious, but I feel like it's a step a lot of promoters will skip. You just gotta do what you gotta do for your wrestlers, do what you gotta do for your fans to put on an amazing show, and you guys should be good. It sounds like you guys are gonna put something amazing on, so that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we think so too, and thank you for that advice.
Yeah,
We really
no
appreciate
problem. Take it with what you will. I don't know how useful it'll be, but that's just my rambling. So.
No, but yeah, it's good advice, because I've been there. I've stressed, I've worried, I've stressed, I've worried, and
Dude,
and now
yeah. I'm like the biggest overthinker in the world, so believe me, I get it.
But yeah, and I think, like Principal Tap said, I think the biggest part of the show I'm looking forward to is somebody finally shutting up the Crippled Messiah and maybe hitting him straight in the mush, so he can't sound like Peyton months.
Ooh, okay.
She can try. I'm telling you, Olive Oil never fought on the Popeye cartoons. This lady's got tiny little arms. That kid knows they're about small.
Right.
Yeah, but I've heard he swings a pretty mean stick, so.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah. So we're actually very excited about this.
Yeah.
So
me too.
You can find him at the Sydney Fairgrounds, I believe, right? Convention Center.
Yes, the Richland County, Sydney.
Yep.
Front row sold out, but we have plenty of general admissions at the door. It's $15 each ticket. So.
Yeah, and that'll be October 7th. I believe start time is 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Doors at 5, bell time at 6.
And then if anybody's interested in tickets for ours, we still have tickets available, and you can call 360-560-2219 and probably talk to the Heartbreaker, although he's probably not going to break your hearts on that one, and find out more about tickets.
Right.
Well, funny story about that. Seems like we got a little bit of time. I'll do a story time. Seems I like to do stories. The gentleman that I actually sold the 4 tickets to just before the podcast actually knew us, not by our real names, ladies and gentlemen. No, he knew us by our podcast names. He actually introduced himself and said, "Oh, you're the Heartbreaker from the Inclusion Matters podcast." So for the very first time in public, I didn't get called by my shoot. And let me tell you what, that kind of was a surreal moment to where you actually realize your fans are watching your product, even though it's a podcast right now, but they're still watching the product and they're wanting to come to the show because of the three of us.
Right.
So to the Messiah and to Principal Tap, that was a surreal moment. Let me tell you what. I mean, for
Yes.
them not to call me Tony and it was, oh, you're the Heartbreaker, and they didn't know you by Nathan. It was Tap and Messiah. So I mean, so for the very first time that was in the 3 months that we've done this, shit got surreal.
Wow, that is a really weird feeling now that I'm like processing that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always told myself, you know, I'm not gonna live the gimmick. I'm gonna live the gimmick. Well, guess what? I'm living the gimmick.
We're living the gimmick.
Nice.
That we are.
I mean, yeah. So that was a very touching and surreal moment, knowing that they were actually a sponsor that could sponsor us, but he and his friend love wrestling so much that he said, not only do I want tickets, I want you to reserve 4 front row tickets for me.
Nice.
So they are front row center.
Nice.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Very, very surreal moment. But like I said, it's getting real.
Heck yeah. Nice.
So
Like I
that
said, the day of the show is gonna be one of those days that it's like gonna be like Christmas to me. I think. I don't think I'm gonna sleep much the night before.
Dude,
Yeah.
the night before Badlands Brawl, I slept for 3 hours. The night before Jurassic Pain in August, I slept for maybe 2. I wasn't. It's not like I was like setting up stuff. I just was too excited, man. I couldn't fall asleep.
Yep.
Sydney, I gotta drive there the day of. So for that sake, I think I'm gonna try to get some good rest. But yeah, no, it will feel Christmas for you guys. Probably it's gonna be awesome.
So, with that being said, we cannot close without thanking Kevin Watson and American Family Insurance, Bob's Little Car Hospital for being our 2 major sponsors. Also, we want to thank Los Jalapenos Taqueria, El Ranchero's Mexican Restaurant, Precision Power Washing, Doti Gallery Tattoo. Oh, God.
Twins in
Bruce
the banks.
The Care Program, Twin Cities Bank, Kathy's Clutters, Messiah.
See, this is what happens when you get so many sponsors. You don't write them down. Let's see.
I think we got him.
I think we got them all.
No, American Tarp Rugged Mad.
Oh, there you go. And see, that's a sad one because the lady that runs the nursing home where I live, her husband runs that company. You would think that would be the first one that I would remember.
So, with that being said, thank you everybody for being sponsors of not only the podcast, but Inclusion Pro Wrestling. And join us tomorrow night for our very first Inclusion Pro Wrestling talent joining us on our podcast. Again, a surreal moment because this is a gentleman that we're re-interviewing from months ago that we just knew as a wrestler, and now we can actually introduce him as Inclusion Pro Wrestling talent. Wow, surreal moment. Anyway,
Yep.
Deontay King Ford will be our guest tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, for Darby, for Principal Tap, for whoever, I'm the Heartbreaker. We'll see you later.
Thank you very much.